Hey, what's up guys, Bajheera here. So as you guys may know if you watch the stream, I've been doing a ton of arenas trying to make my way to rank 1 for the season, and I've got quite a few clips from, I guess, the past couple weeks that I'd like to share with you guys. So this is pretty much the first session that I played on my warrior with this Turbo Cleave team that I was playing with, Whoopi and Hot's JK Purge. So my Alliance warrior is probably about like 2350, 2400 at this point, and this is going to be the first video of a couple that sort of guides you through our run all the way up to like 2750 or so. And then spoiler alert, recently I just hit 2821 playing Arcane, Fury, and Mistweaver with Jacob and Volkazar. So 2820 is a pretty solid rating. Not sure if that's going to guarantee me rank 1. We're going to have to keep our eye on the ladder, but either way, spoilers aside, I wanted to share with you guys some Turbo Cleave commentary on our way up to 2750, because if you guys are looking to push in the last couple days of the season, you know, sometimes a little bit of commentary can help, but also these are just some fun games on our way up to high rating from not so high rating, and just wanted to share them with you guys. So basically, nothing too complicated that we've seen so far here in this matchup. We're up against a BM Fury KFC, and KFC is one of my favorite comps, but I do know that from a Fury Warrior's perspective, Arms Warrior kind of counters that. Basically, what I'm looking to do against the Fury Warrior is disarm his cooldowns, duel him on his cooldowns, on my Shaman, Sharpen Blade, you know, whenever we land CC, but definitely on his, you know, his Enraged regen just gets completely mitigated by my Sharpen Blade. And obviously disarming him when he's popping his cooldowns means that he's really never going to get a clean set of damage off. So Arms Warrior, I definitely think counters Fury. We're going to talk more about our general Turbo Cleave setup in other games, but just that first game sort of serves as an intro. Gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. But this game is going to give you an idea of the way our offensive pushes usually go. So pay attention here, because there's a few things that are going on. First thing, I'm going to open up with a Fear on the Priest, stun the Feral Druid, pop my offensive cooldowns, Sharpen Blade the Feral, probably sharpened a little bit early, because my Monk was able to land a Sap on the Disc Priest after my Fear was over. But it's all good, because look at the cooldowns that we've forced. We have the Trinkets from the Feral and the Hunter. We have Survival Instincts from the Feral, and we had their Pet Sack from the Hunter as well. So that's a lot of cooldowns out of the enemy team there. So even though they're applying a lot of pressure to our Healer Monk, basically what we need to do is survive until we have a next offensive push opportunity, and that is pretty much right now. Once again, I've got my Stormbolt ready, I've got my Sharpened Blade ready. I just need to communicate with my Shaman on when we can actually make that push. And one of my favorite things about Turbo Cleave is how the entire team sort of sets up these offensive pushes all at once. So I'm going to Stormbolt the Feral, my Monk is going to in-cap into Leg Sweep the enemy team's Priest, and we're just going to kill the Feral in basically the in-cap effect. So our opener was so punishing that any sort of follow-up go really just sort of crushed the enemy team. That's a lot of fun. This next matchup is going to be against a similar team, Feral Druid, Disc Priest, but this time it's a Marksmanship Hunter, so a little bit more range damage coming from the Marksmanship Hunter, but it also gives us an opportunity to use line of sight to our advantage. So mainly what we're going to do here is the same opener that we saw before, is the Fear into Stormbolt on our kill target, Sharpen Blade as my Fear ends, and pretty much just pour the damage on as much as we can. The Feral Druid's going to go Bear Form, pop his shield wall, and we only got Trinket out of the Feral Druid this time, but Trinket out of the kill target is pretty much what we're primarily looking for there. I mean, getting Trinkets from the healer is also great, but if the Feral is unable to Trinket our next stun on him, that's going to be an opportunity for us to do a lot of damage. And if you'll look at it, we've pretty much already got that stun rolling. So in between our offensive pushes, my main objective is basically to mitigate damage on our team. So you'll see me dueling the Feral Druid, disarming the Hunter, and then by the time we've sort of, you know, weathered the storm of their counter push, we're able to go offensive again. So we hit the Stormbolt and the Sharpened Blade. It doesn't really get a whole lot done this time, but it is able to peel his Incarnation just a little bit, and they really don't get a whole lot done with some of their most, you know, terrifying cooldowns. So once again, in 8 seconds, I've got my Stormbolt up. I'm going to run over there and disarm the Hunter, because right now the damage that we have isn't the most important thing. The way that Turbo seems to do the most damage is just on those big Stormbolt, Sharpen, CC on the enemy team, Healer for my Monk, and that's what we're setting up right now. I see the Sap go through, Stormbolt the Feral Druid, Sharpen him right out of the end of the Sap there, and we're going to get Pain Suppression, Bear Form, and the Feral Druid is kind of on his back foot here. They're going to try to turn some pressure over back on my Shaman. My Shaman's probably going to look to kite here, And even though I get fake there and have my fear coming up, instead of trying to fear the priest, I'm going to use my fear defensively and fear both DPS, which allows my shaman to get behind the pillar and get topped off before things get scary. Definitely want to keep the feral in combat, don't want him to get a re-stealth opportunity. But as you'll notice, all of our offensive cooldowns have come back up. Only thing that it really takes right now is for my monk to be able to make it all the way over to the priest, but with the monk mobility, it shouldn't be much of a problem. The feral druid sees this offensive pressure coming and is able to get a bear form off. That's not really going to stop us from using our go, though. We're going to do some damage anyway, just in a sap, this time on the priest. Not going to get a whole lot done, which is going to make me want to duel the feral druid, disarm the hunter, and peel for my shaman once again. Even if we're not getting the most damage out of our goes, it's still good to use them, just to see if we can force a little something out of the enemy team. Fortunately for me, I still have battle cry for this next go, and the whole time I'm communicating with my team. 5 seconds left on stun. This is going to give my monk enough time to sort of get his positioning ready to CC the enemy team's priest, because that's what we really need. The feral is actually so far behind the pillar, we're just going to go ahead and stun him here. He's going to get his shield wall off. The priest, meanwhile, is in a sap into a leg sweep. He decides to use his human trinket on the leg sweep, and I'm going to get a sharpened blade on him once the priest is out of CC. So once again, sharpened blade immediately when you pop cooldowns can definitely be, pretty scary against like a resto druid team where they have, a lot of reliance on heal over time effects, and if you're negating those heal over time effects instantly during that stun, they could just, get pushed over the edge with just raw damage and no healing from hots. But a lot of times, it's good to use that sharpened blade to sort of finish your CC chain, I find. Similarly, it's also good to create a CC chain when there is none. I stun the feral druid, there's no CC on the priest, but sharpened blade basically creates a situation where the priest's healing is not nearly as effective as he needs it to be. So the feral druid stays low, and we're able to force another shield wall out of him. Meanwhile, these guys are pressuring us back for sure, like no doubt about that. We weren't able to get the kill on the bear form, a shield walled feral, but at this point I am able to land a fear. I'm pretty sure the priest deathed my fear there, so good plays by him. But once again, we're going to sap the enemy team's healer, put a sharpened blade on the feral druid, and I'm just going to blade storm here to try to get some damage out while avoiding peels. Once again, that bear form is a very powerful cooldown that's going to mitigate a lot of damage on him. I'm going to throw a duel on the feral, kick the mind control, because they're swapping over damage to me a little bit. I'm going to use my parry there. Don't get a chance to disarm the hunter on the way over, but as he jumps by us, I'm going to try to waddle over, get that disarm on him, and get my damage right back on the feral druid. So things are looking a little bit dicey right here. I'm going to throw out my sharpened blade, first things first, stun the feral druid out of that. My shaman's bringing some serious damage right now. Hits him with the sundering to keep him in place. I'm going to duel him to make sure his bleeds on my shaman aren't really doing too much, because they're swapping over to him just a little bit. They're a little bit in panic mode. Feral druid doesn't have much left. I'm praying that execute kills this feral druid. Get a juicy 191 damage execute there. So, you know what? It wasn't the prettiest game, I think, but it does give you an idea of how the burst and peel ebb and flow of Turbo Cleave kind of goes a little bit. So even when you're on your back foot, you always need to be paying attention to when your cooldowns are back up, because Turbo Cleave burst can really change a game, even when things aren't looking so good for you. I think we had a pretty solid game there, but even with a little bit of counter pressure, we still got the job done. So this next match is up against an RMP, which definitely can be a tough comp for us. So there's 3 things to focus on when facing like a rogue mage setup. 1 is dueling the mage, 2 is disarming the rogue, and 3 is landing some kind of fear to try to peel the opener in the beginning there. So at this point, you saw me duel the mage, disarm the rogue, and I'm going to fear the priest and the rogue. So a lot of times it's okay if you only catch the mage and the rogue in that fear, but catching the healer is just a little bit of a bonus. We noticed that the rogue did trinket the fear, which puts him instantly as our kill target, and he gets rocked. He gets punished for trinketing that fear. That's one of the things that you want to look out for. Basically is peel the opener with duel disarm, try to force a trinket on somebody on the enemy team, and destroy them in your counter pressure. Rogues are definitely good options for that. They can get destroyed in a stun, and if your monk is able to land a secondary stun on the rogue, it's oftentimes just game over. So that was pretty much an ideal situation in terms of peeling the opener. The only way it could have gotten better is if I got a triple fear in the opener somehow, but basically fear, peel, get a trinket, destroy. So that's pretty much how that works. Once again, we're going to see another jungle cleave marksmanship hunter. This time we're going to do a similar strategy, although I'm holding my fear in the beginning, and we're seeing that the hunter and the feral are stacking up, so they're going to both get some cleave treatment. And since the hunter got so low, we're actually going to swap our damage over to the hunter and see if we can't force some cooldowns. The hunter's still just a little bit above execute range. Everybody stacks up for us, so we're just going to go ahead and hit that triple fear there. Once again, keeping the feral in combat, but we did force the turtle out of the hunter. So that's 1 cooldown out of the books. the priest is going to get sapped into a leg sweep, and we're going to turn our damage right back onto the feral. He's still in cat form, so he's an excellent candidate for getting that Stormbolt, Sharpened Blade combo that we talked about. No CC on the priest, but once again, Sharpened Blade, if you just use it during your stun, it acts as its own CC. And as that Sharpened Blade was ending, I fortunately landed a kick on the priest as well, so they're a little bit on their back foot here for sure. We land a sap on the priest out of that. No leg sweep available right now, and since they're hitting me, I decide not to use my duel, but I am going to throw that disarm onto the hunter as well, just to try to mitigate some damage. Now, during this game, I wasn't so sure about that parry, but since he popped Incarn, I just went ahead and instinctively parried, and this is going to prevent them from getting any sort of counter pressure. We got topped off, and I want to stay that way, and it's going to allow us to pop some cooldowns on these guys. So once again, Stormbolt, Sharpened Blade, going to force Pain Sup, going to force Bear, going to force the Survival Instincts, and we're instantly going to turn this pressure right over to the priest. So one of the things to keep in mind is that when you force cooldowns from the enemy team, it's fantastic, like great. Be proud of that, be happy about that, but one of the ways to really make your pressure the most sort of scary that it can be is swapping off of cooldowns. So we got Survival Instincts, we got Pain Suppression, and we instantly, instead of hitting the feral, swapped over to the priest. And since the priest doesn't have a trinket, we're actually still thinking about going priest at this point. I used my rally, I used my parry, so I don't have a whole lot of cooldowns to, you know, continue this game in the long game. So, you know, a healer swap with Stormbolt, with Shaman cooldowns, with Sharpened Blade, definitely could be devastating to these guys. So you're seeing me hover over the Heroic Leap. I think it's definitely an option. Gonna go to the Hunter for a second, disarm him. Thinking about chopping up his pet for a second just to reduce that Mortal Strike effect and get me a little Victory Rush just in case I dip lower. So this Hunter is going to do a little bit more damage to me. I'm going to let that damage go through. I don't want to waste that Victory Rush on, you know, not healing myself enough. But with the Feral Druid in bear form, with the Hunter, he doesn't have his turtle, but he does have his trinket up again. The priest doesn't have a trinket. We're still thinking about that priest swap. I have my cooldowns at this point. We're going to leap over there, hit him with a Stormbolt, hit him with the leg sweep on DR. The whole time he's got Sharpened Blade up. No hots for him whatsoever if he had any, and he's just going to get rocked in that combo. Going to go ahead and throw the fear out to Peel, just in case they're going to counter pressure us, which they are not. But could have used that fear if the priest hadn't died just as like a small interrupt. So that he doesn't get any casts off during that time as well. So Turbo Cleave's a really fun comp for that reason. I mean, you can do your setups, see who trinkets, and punish them for that. So once again, we're going to be fighting this BM Fury KFC. Instantly, they're going to go on our Monk this time, which isn't necessarily a bad idea considering how much trouble they had earlier. But I'm going to instantly disarm the Warrior on his cooldowns, duel the Hunter on his cooldowns, and instantly, we're going to go on this Fury Warrior again. So we got Iron Bark and stuff like that, but I was able to sharpen Blade his enraged regen, so he's really not going to get that much healing from either the big cooldown from his Druid or his own, you know, primary defensive cooldown. So even with a lot of extra healing and a lot of damage mitigation, he's not going to get much from that just because of the Sharpened Blade. He's, you know, doesn't have any offensive cooldowns, but I'm still going to throw that disarm on him just to, you know, further reduce the fun he's having in this game. So I really enjoy Fury, but that is one of the weaknesses of Fury, is an arms warrior. You can do so much to prevent their offensive and defensive utility, and we've got so much pressure rolling on this Fury warrior that we're pretty much just gonna sit on him for the whole rest of the game. He's trying to get his rallying cry out, he's trying to get some heals from his Resto Druid, but we put them in such a bad spot just with that one Sharpen. You know, Sharpen his increased hots from Iron Bark, Sharpen his enraged regen. With nothing from those cooldowns, just gonna go down. Alright, so this next matchup is going to be against kind of an interesting team. A Mistweaver Monk, an Unholy DK, and a Havoc Demon Hunter. So for us, we're pretty much going to want to hit the most immobile target. So the DK is going to be the target that we're going to have the most uptime. We're going to be able to crank the most damage into, and basically that's our strat here. And just in our opener alone, without really much CC on the Monk at all, we were able to force pretty much every cooldown from the enemy team here. So as long as we're able to keep our team alive, which was, you know, the standard peels that we've been talking about, duel, disarm, the works, we're going to get a lot of work done. I'm going to go ahead and leap fear over this Monk, charge back. My Shaman is going to land a beautiful wind shear right off the trinket on the Monk, and we're going to get a bit of a cheeky win on these guys. This could definitely be a scary comp for us, but just from our raw pressure on hitting the target that's, you know, optimal target choice. What can you hit the most of the game and just pump damage into and prevent them from really hitting our Monk ever? Unholy DK, obvious choice. Make a few plays, just a little bit of CC, force cooldowns, follow up with the fear, get the trinket, shear the cast, kill off of that. So relatively straightforward game, but it kind of shows you the power of turbo cleave against other melee cleaves as well. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. Definitely let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this. Let me know if they're helpful, because I enjoy making them for you, and I'm happy to make more. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace!